What is going on, guys? Jesse504 here, bringing you the WPF Season 6 C-Division Power Rankings, and I am joined today by our C-Div moderator, Jelllcents. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Heyo, Jelllcents. You know me by now. So once again, we did the power rankings again, and I'm excited to show you what we got.
Alright, so starting us off, why don't we go over our categories? 5 main categories, same as last season. Offense, defense, speed, hazard control, and type coverage. I think they're fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah, we make sure to check offense. We check if it's a good mix between physical and special. Defense, we also especially check this time to see if you have good recovery and if you have clerics that help that. And speed, we especially took a lot of attention to the different speed tiers and how well it's spread out. If you have a bunch of mons at base 80, that's a point off pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then hazards, how much can you set up, how much can you remove, and how consistent and reliable can you do it, and just type coverage, how many different types, how many different stab options you have, and what are your most common weaknesses. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Alright, so now let's get into our 18th ranked team. We have the Connecticut Cub Chews, coached by Crispy McRib. This team, on paper, I think it's just going to have a hard season. None of the rankings are really that high. Their highest is 16 points in defense. And you wouldn't expect the Coco team to be ranked this low, but I feel like they didn't build around it that well.
So the team is you can see it in front of you, hopefully. There's Coco, Hippo, Mienshao, Delmi, Typno, Driblim, Toxapex, Mendibus, Arcanine, and Typhlosion. We'll get to that. And Araquanid. So you're the one who ranked this team, right? So where did you get? What do you think is the biggest flaw of this team?
Well, you got Coco, and then you surrounded it by a couple of ground weak mons with the Toxapex, the Arcanine, and the Typhlosion. Especially just Arcanine, Typhlosion. I feel like they play really similarly for fire types, unless you want to run bulky Arcanine a lot. But no need to have extra ground weaknesses, especially when you're Coco. I feel like a lot of mons can just slap EQ onto them and then just have success.
Yeah, I think the speed is where really Coco at the top at 130 is good. Then it drops to Mienshao 105, and most of his mons are super slow. You have Arachnid, Pex, Typno, Zelmi, Hippowdon, all less than 60. Type Null is 59, it's the fastest of those bunch. And webs on Arachnid help, but they won't help this much, you know?
Yeah, and there's not a dedicated Trick Room setter, or really any Trick Room on this team.
Yeah, but I think the worst one here is just the type coverage.
Yeah.
Why do you have Arcanine and Typhlosion? I don't understand it. It's not necessarily bad to have 2 mons of the same type if they do different things or don't have too much of the shared weaknesses, but 2 pure fire types?
Yeah. Might like to just make a free agent transaction there. I don't know. I don't see them both coming.
I would honestly just right now. I mean, do your week 1, but after that, just trade one of them for something else. I would immediately do that. I don't understand what the value is of having both of them.
I don't see Typhlosion coming to any game as long as Arcanine's on the roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty, want to move on to number 17?
Sure.
Alrighty. We got the Jersey City Jelllcents, coached by Thoro. Strong start with the Mega Mawile, round 1, and then Tangrowth, Gligar, Slowking, Fortress, Spiritomb, Thundee-Eye, Salazzle, Sigilif, Machamp, and Haxorus. So my first impression of this team is that it's just kind of really slow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's based after Trick Room, looks like, with the Slowking there. Does Spiritomb have Trick Room?
I don't think so, but it is slow.
Yeah. So, I get, Slowking, Trick Room, then teleport into Mega Mawile. That's a good strat. That's definitely he's gonna probably use it a few times. That's definitely gonna work a few times. But Trick Room can be prepped against fairly easily, so I don't think just going this hard on it was a smart decision.
Yeah. And I like the start of the Regenerator core with Tangrowth and Slowking, but
yeah, I'll give him that. That's a good core.
That is a really solid core. But Tangrowth and Mega Mawile share a fire weakness, so especially when it's a Mega Mawile, people are gonna want to start prepping for that with a fire weakness because that thing only has 2 weaknesses and it's a massive threat. And then having a fortress as well. That's just gonna make people really want to pack fire coverage and kind of almost similar stuff for ground. Although there are like 3 flying types on the team, which is another thing
Yeah.
I noticed.
Yeah, the three flying depth is a weird one. I mean, not all of them are weak to rocks, I guess, so they don't share all their weaknesses. Like, is this Thunderous Eye, right?
Yeah.
That's Volt Absorb? Okay, so at least, that's different resistance, different immunity, so. But still,
Hmm.
3 is a bit much. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, just fire coverage. Every team's gonna pack fire coverage when you have Mawile, Tangrowth, and Fortress, so it's
Hmm.
tricky. But Slowking will help. You're probably gonna have to bring Slowking to most games. But Slowking's mostly special defensive, so if you like a strong physical fire type, this team gonna struggle with, I think.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully there aren't too many strong physical fire types, but still, they're gonna be tough to work around. Like you got your Slowking here, but I feel like a lot of them can pack some form of coverage for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, not really too much else. I think that they did everything pretty well. They're just kind of slow, and that's really their main downfall here.
Like I think there's a few really scary bonds, and like Mama can set up, Haxorus can set up, so if Thunderous can set up. If you're not careful, you will just get swept by this team. But I do think it's fairly easy to prep around this team. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, alrighty. Moving on to number 16, we have the Beware of Bewares, coached by Epic Boost. Um, I think they went round 1 Rillaboom. They had like a kind of later pick, so I can kind of understand it, especially when they can get back Volcarona, Porygon 2, Mantine, Beware, Togedemaru, Mega Aggron, Reuniclus, Galarian Slowbro, Diancie, and Flygon.
Hmm.
Um, One thing that I just kind of noticed is that Rillaboom Mega Aggron is a nice solid core, reducing the damage from the earthquakes and for the Mega Aggron, and also giving it a little bit of passive recovery that it really desires.
Yeah, I actually really like that. I've done that in the past before too. Like Aggron in the grassy terrain is just a monster. It just doesn't die. I think the one thing this team could have used was a good cleric to also wish pass to
Hmm.
Aggron to really support it. But yeah, Rillaboom and Aggron is a solid combo.
Yeah,
But yeah, but then we look so offense and defense. It's good. Both 17, pretty fine. Like good bulky offense going on here. But then we go to the
hmm,
speeds. And yeah, we got another really slow team. Like the first three, like the bottom three are all really slow teams.
yeah,
With like Reuniclus and Slowbro, again, this is also perhaps a Trick Room team, although it doesn't have as powerful of a Trick Room abuser as Mega Mawile, but it still has like
yeah,
Aggron in the Trick Room is fine, Beware in the Trick Room is fine.
yeah,
But yeah, there's 2 months at base 30, then there's a few months base 50, base 60. Like, its fastest mons are Volcarona and Flygon, just base 100s.
yeah.
At the top of your curve, that's not good. You need something faster generally.
Yeah, I feel like I could see like Scarf Rillaboom coming a lot of weeks. I feel like it's gonna have to come a lot of weeks. Or
Yeah,
Scarf
like Scarf
Flygon.
Flygon, U-turn inning or something. I mean,
Yeah.
Volcarona and Flygon can both set up their speed with like Quiver Dance, Dragon Dance, but
Hmm.
you usually want something that's just immediately fast to like revenge kill stuff, and this team doesn't have that.
Yeah. Um, a Wish Passer, I think, again, as you said earlier, would have been really nice. But some solid recovery with the Porygon 2 and Mantine can heal themselves on their own. And um, no Wish Pass could help for the Slowbro, for the Diancie, I feel. But
Hmm.
Reuniclus, P2, Mantine kind of can be a bulky core that heal themselves over time.
Yeah, actually, it does a decent offensive core, decent defensive core.
Hmm.
Just the speed is a big downfall, and
Yeah.
also the hazards. We didn't get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hazards.
the team they only has two rockers, and I think its defoggers are like Volcarona and Mantine and
Yeah.
Flygon. Yeah,
Flygon doesn't want to run it, and the other two are weak to it. Volcarona some weeks can't fit it.
yeah. Like I think Mantine is gonna have to be your defogger pretty much every game because
Hmm.
Volcarona can run it with like boots, I guess, but that's just wasting a move slot on it.
Hmm.
Flygon can be okay as like a fast defogger, and then you turn out maybe, but again, Flygon doesn't want to be the support one either. So yeah, you're gonna have to run Mantine most of the time. So that's a bit. If you're forced to, that's not good.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Moving on, I guess, to number
Yeah,
15. We got the Golden State Golducks, coached by Risky Ricky. Solid team with Necrozma, Grimmsnarl, Serena, Chandelure, Jolteon, Masquerain, Rapid Strike Urshifu, Snorlax, Piloswine, Mega Steelix, and Hydreigon. Really solid offense here with Grimmsnarl being able to go offensive, Necrozma being able to go offensive, Serena, Chandelure, Urshifu, Snorlax, Mega Steelix can go offensive, and Hydreigon, so a lot of offensive threats. And defensively, Grimmsnarl and Jolteon providing support for the team. And then Necrozma can go bulky. Serena, I've seen it run bulky sets sometimes. Snorlax is very especially bulky, and then Piloswine with the Eviolite does really well on its own. And then, of course, Mega Steelix is tough to break. But it's another slow team.
Again with the slow teams, yeah. But yeah, its fastest mon is Jolteon, like that's 130, and after that its fastest mon is Hydreigon at 98. That's a huge gap, and your fastest mon being Jolteon, meaning that a lot of times you feel like you have to run Jolteon. I think it's bad because I think Jolteon this season is bad because we're doing no cut moves, so no hidden power, not even Signal Beam. Jolteon's coverage is Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, and like Shadow Ball. That's it.
Yeah.
So like you can run like a support Jolteon, I guess. It gets Wish and Heal Bell, but does it get screens? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it gets screens.
Yeah, okay, so...
But you already have Grimmsnarl for screen support.
Yeah. I just don't think Jolteon is that good of a mon, which I hate because it shares very much of its name with me, but I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that that's their fastest mon, I think is a huge flaw. The team does have webs in Masquerain, but again, you don't always want to break Masquerain, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much a dead hazard lead. Doesn't do enough, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of hazard, it has webs, and there's a few workers, right? Yeah, there's Steelix and Piloswine.
Steelix, Piloswine, Necrozma all do it fairly
your
well.
removal is just Serena, right? Or
Hydreigon can do it too, yeah.
Yeah, Serena and Hydreigon. Oh, yes, Masquerain gets defucked too.
Yeah. So kind of inconsistent in the hazards department, at least removing. Rockers are pretty solid, though.
Yeah, rockers are fine.
And then coverage-wise, I think this team is one of the better ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah, like it's missing a few times, but they don't have any big weaknesses that I would point out here.
Yeah. Alrighty, I guess moving to number 14, we have the Bakersfield Bearticks, coached by Miles. Gothitelle, Weavile, Klefki, Galarian Weezing, Electivire, Torterra, Mega Gallade, Kingdra, Volcanion, Unpheasant, and Gastrodon.
You didn't mention how many points he has.
Oh, he had 69 points, of course.
Hey, there's always one. Every season there's always one. Anyway.
Nice.
But yeah,
just been
the
number
team
one
is
for
actually, I think the bottom five are definitely standing out as being some of the worst teams. I think we're going into like more the balancing. From here on out, I think most teams are like, comparable. They won't have too much of a hard time going against each other, except for like the top five, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this team is honestly solid in a lot of cases. Like the offense is great with like Mega Gallade. There's Mega Gallade and Weavile are very strong core. Like there's Volcanion there. Some other like mons that can hit hard, although you might not bring them all that often, like Evi and Torterra. Like I actually like those as low picks, but
yeah, and Gothitelle.
Defensively, the team suffers. Oh, go ahead.
I guess Gothitelle offensively, like if Miles uses it aggressively, it can just take games if it's not prepped for correctly. Yeah,
Gothitelle is one of those annoying ones. You have to prep for it, because if you don't, then on the right mon it just sits there, clicks Calm Mind, rest all day, and then it is at +8, sweeping your team afterwards. So that Gothitelle you have to be careful of.
But I guess defensively, what were you gonna say about it?
Oh yeah, like it's fine. Like Klefki and Weezing are decent defensively, although they're both fairy types, but they have different weaknesses, so I guess that's fine. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, it is Gastrodon, I suppose. So like his defensive mon are more of his low pick mons, which can be fine. Like if you're prioritizing offense, that's okay. but it's not gonna hold back like really strong teams. Like it's not gonna hold back, so it's gonna have to fight them offensively rather than defensively, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as speed goes, pretty solid top end with Weavile and Mega Gallade. And then does a pretty solid job of bridging down with like Electivire and Kingdra, but nothing like too fast, although topping out at 125 is pretty solid.
Yeah, topping it Weavile isn't bad. Like it goes Weavile Gallade. It doesn't have like something at base 100, which could maybe have used, but it's fairly average after that. I don't think speed is going to be a huge issue. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hazards are okay, I think. It has like what's that? Klefki and Weezing can set up spikes and toxic spikes, respectively. But rocks, I think it just has Torterra, or am I missing something here?
I think it's just Torterra, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could have used more rockers, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then removal, he has his Galarian Weezing.
And Klefki can both defog, Volcanion can defog, Unpheasant can defog. I think removal is fine, even though Volcanion and Unpheasant aren't the best defoggers, they still can, so you have that flexibility.
Yeah, no spinner here if you wanted to like spike stack potentially. Yeah. Could be kind of annoying. But, meh.
Yeah, I think you could have used a few more setters, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. And then coverage, he doubles up on a lot of types, but I think it works out fine in the end. He has like 2 Psychics, 3 Waters, 2 Fairies.
Yeah, I'm curious about the 3 Waters. Is he planning to set up Rain Dance with something? Does he have Kingdra there? He has Volcanion there, which are good in the rain. Like,
yeah.
Does like Klefki get Rain Dance or something? I feel like he's sneakily planning to Rain Dance with something. I just can't figure out what it is.
Yeah. It could be interesting strategy one game.
Yeah, 3 water types is interesting. They don't share any weakness. Like only Gastrodons weak to ground. Only Volcanions weak to grass. I mean, only Gastrodons weak to grass. Only Volcanions weak to electric. So like, other than like freeze dry, they don't share any weaknesses. So
yeah,
it's fine. Like this is what I mean. You can have three water types if they all like do different things and have different weaknesses. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Just missing out on a couple of types, but it's not really that bad.
Yeah. That's not a huge deal. I think it's fine. Overall, I think the team is good. Like, strong offense, just a few points that it could have done better on. Just better speed, better hazards, better defense, and it would have been a great team. But for now, I think it's a fairly average team.
Yeah. And Miles is a great player, so I trust him to be able to work magic with this team.
Exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, number 13, we have the main Magikarps, coached by HZK. Zeraora, Blacephalon, Seismitoad, Alcremie, Xatu, Ariados, Ferrothorn, Mega Gyarados, Obstagoon, Hitmonchan, and Tyrantrum. I like a lot of this team, honestly. Starting off with like Zeraora, Blacephalon, along with Mega Gyarados, all of those mons pack a punch. Blacephalon on the special side, while its move pool is slightly limited, it still hits really hard. And then Mega Gyarados threatening to set up or just do damage as is, and then Zeraora can go either way, so it'll be tough to sort of stop his offensive threats.
Yeah, it also has some really powerful breakers, like Obstagoon with the Reckless or with the Guts Facade and stuff, just breaks through walls. Tyrantrum can go like Bandit Head Smash, it just destroys so many walls. So I think offensively the team is very strong, even though it is more physical than special, which you should notice that. Like his only real special attacker is Blacephalon. The rest of the team is all physical.
Yeah. I guess Zeraora can go special some weeks, but...
Yeah, if you want. But yeah, the only real special threat is Blacephalon, which is strong enough that you still have to prep for it, so I will give him that.
Yeah.
But I think the teams are mostly going to bring physical walls against him, so be wary of that.
Defensively, obviously Ferrothorn is just a massive pain, and it's supported pretty well. I think Seismitoad and Ferrothorn is a great defensive core, just seen in the OU metagame even. Seismitoad, Ferrothorn can set hazards well too later on, but they just don't share weaknesses, and they can actually take each other's weaknesses pretty well.
Yeah, they both have a quad weakness, but then they resist each other's quad weakness, so as a core that works well. They don't
Mm-hmm.
really have any recovery though, and I think that the team lacks that a lot. Does
Yeah.
Alcremie use Wish?
Alcremie, I'm pretty sure gets recover, and then Zatu, I'm pretty sure can
Does
get
he get
roost, right?
does it get Wish though? Is it like a cleric Alcremie? I don't know Mon too
I
much.
don't think it gets aromatherapy. I'm pretty sure, but I don't think it can wish.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
it doesn't.
mhm.
Zatu gets Wish though. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the team could have used a better cleric in that sense. Like if you instead of Alcremie, you had like let's say Sylveon or Florges or something that can also Wish and Heal Bell, then I think the team would have been a lot better. But
Hmm.
for now, it's fine. Like 2 months at about bulky, they won't last all game. You're just gonna have to pace them.
Yeah. Speed. Zeraora obviously is one of the fastest mons.
Hmm.
That's also consistent, and then Blacephalon. It's kind of a pretty big gap going from 143 to 107.
Yeah, I was gonna say that 143, 107. It definitely could have used like 115, 120, something along those lines to just
Mm-hmm.
bridge that gap. But yeah, having Zero at the top of your curve is always nice. He
Mm-hmm.
has also a lot of slow mons after that, like Ferrothorn, Ariados,
Mm-hmm.
Alcremie's pretty slow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm. I guess Blacephalon and Obstagoon isn't that bad of a gap, and then down to like Mega Gyarados. The gaps aren't
Mhm.
that big, except for a couple of massive ones, but other than
Yeah.
that, I guess.
He does have webs, I guess, with
Mm-hmm.
Ariados, although, it's an Ariados, you're not going to bring it every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has
Mm-hmm.
like Dragon Nets, so he can set up his speed, so it's not that big a deal that you have to always be careful about it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. 12 speed, like as a score, is not too bad. It's pretty average. Like one good top end, but the rest is all average.
Mm-hmm. And then hazards that you mentioned earlier, I think they're pretty solid. Obviously, Ariados, while not being consistent, can set webs, can set T spikes, and then Seismitoad and Ferrothorn are both pretty consistent rockers.
Hmm.
And Ferrothorn also has access to spikes. And then for removal, well, Zatu has Magic Bounce to keep them off, but it can also defog. And then Hitmonchan can spin.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
removal is where the team lacks a bit. It definitely could
Yeah.
have used something better than some low tiers in like Hitmonchan and Zatu.
Mm-hmm.
Hitmonchan has just some bad matchups where you don't want to bring it, even if it's like your only spinner. And Zatu, if you can predict the Magic Bounce turns, then yeah, good on you. But if you don't, then Zatu's still going to be a liability, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's a Zatu at the end of the day. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's a Zatu. Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it could have used some better removers, I think.
Yeah, and then covered, I think this team is pretty strong. I don't think they double up on types other than. Actually, they do it a little bit with the Mega Gyarados kind of doubled up on by the Obstagoon and Seismitoad. Um, but other than that, there isn't really too much.
Has a slight fairy weakness, I should point
Mm-hmm.
out. He has like 4 months weak to fairy. Also,
Yeah,
4 months weak to fighting, now that I look at it. But
yeah,
yeah, Ferrothorn is going to come in a lot, I think, against fairy and Blacephalon as well.
yeah. They both can work. Blacephalon especially for fairy and for fighting.
I think fighting is going to be the worst one. Like, he has Alcremie there, and I
Yeah,
guess Zatu, but yeah,
Alcremie and Zatu.
fighting is going to be a big weakness, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess moving on to the next team, to the ranked 12
Yeah.
team, we have me.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah. Um, I guess you can sort of talk about this because I don't want to be biased for myself.
Yeah, all right. You have Mega Dancy, Zarude, Vaporeon, Alola Marowak, Ditto, Mr. Rhyme, Corviknight, Zygarde, Toxtricity, Girder, and Kecleon. I will say, I think you have the best Dragon Fairy Steel core in T Division. Mega Dancy, Zygarde, Corviknight is just a
Hmm.
really solid core.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just like what my first plan was, and then just how do I support that pretty well.
Yeah, like both offense and defensive, you're fine. Yeah, with the again with the Dancy and Zygarde being offensive with Marowak as well. Zarude, which I'm curious to see how it's going to do. I don't know that mon too well, so curious to
Hmm.
see what it will do. And on your defense, Corviknight, Vaporeon are fine. They both weak to electric, but then you have Alola Marek and Zygarde to cover for that. So again, they both you're pretty balanced in that sense. I think real flaws pop up when we get the speed and hazards.
Yeah. I guess for speed, It is definitely one of my slower drafts. Mega Diancie at the top isn't the best, but and then going to Zarude, and then Zygarde, and then it kind of just falls off from there.
Yeah, 110 is your fastest, and 105, 95, and from there on, like you have a bunch of mons at like the 40 range. Girder, Kecleon, Marowak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ditto is there, which is always difficult to rate, but
Mm-hmm.
Ditto. There's only one set with Ditto, right? Scarf. So Ditto will always be faster than the fastest mon your opponent are going to bring. So, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how much you're planning on bringing Ditto though. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a matchup dependent mon.
hmm
And
so I
then
think you
yeah.
could have used more speed in general
Mm-hmm.
and hazards. So, well, you got Diancie, Marowak, and Kecleon can set up.
Mm-hmm.
And like Corviknight and Girder get removed. Can Mr. Rhyme also remove?
Mr. Rhyme can remove, and then Diancie, obviously, same thing kind of about that.
Yeah,
Zatu can
the
magic
Magic Man.
bounce.
I mean, at least this is a Magic Bounce that you're going to bring more often than a Zatu, so I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Corviknight is going to have to be your defogger most games, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. Corviknight is a solid defogger, so there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, just a bit below average, especially since like you can only set up rocks, and your rockers are Diancie, which you don't want to bring rocks, Marek, which is slow, Kecleon, which is a Kecleon. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, coverage wise, I think you did great though. You have every type, and you have almost every type, right?
Yeah, I think I'm
And don't think
missing
you have any big
Bug.
weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just missing bug.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I drafted. I was like, if I have good enough coverage, I should be able to perform fine in most matchups as long as I can build and play good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coverage
Mm-hmm.
you did great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're like a bit below average, but I think your team is fine. You have a great team here.
Yeah.
If you build well around your core, your Fire Dragon Steel core, if you play to those strengths well, I think
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do great.
Yeah. Alrighty, but I guess
Yep.
moving on, we don't need to talk about me anymore. We can go. Alrighty, up next we have Twigs, Scizor, Mega Swampert, Dragalge, Empoleon, Hitmontop, Murkrow, Pelipper, Floette Eternal, Thundurus Therian, Silvally, and Dusknoir. It's definitely a rain team here. Mega Swampert, best abuser in rain in my opinion. And then Scizor in rain is also a tried and true thing, just reducing that fire damage.
Yeah, very solid great team. I think like Thunder is there too, with like Thunder
Mm-hmm.
and Weather Ball. I think he's also a great rain abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
definitely got that there. Empoleon is fine, I guess. Like its
Mm-hmm.
cold hurts harder, I guess, but Empoleon's fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's his main offense. So it also
Mm-hmm.
has Eternal Floette, which I'm curious to see how it's gonna do. Like that
Yeah.
thing has huge special attack, and that's like that one move that
Mm-hmm.
costs like half his life, but then hits like a truck.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm
curious
unfamiliar
to
with
see.
that mon, but I'm curious to see how it does, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Like
Mm-hmm.
as far as Fairy Dragon Steel Cores goes, this isn't the worst. Like Dragalge, Scizor, Floette, and also
Mm-hmm.
Empoleon,
Yeah,
fine.
they'll do well. And then I guess defensively, Scizor obviously in rain is tough to bring down.
hmm
Um, Empoleon's another nice defensive piece. Dragalge can be a solid special wall. Silvally can be run defensive, and then Dusknoir can, I guess, run defensive, and Murkrow can hold an Eviolite. But,
Yeah, and it's nothing like a really tough wall. Like a Scizor is probably his most bulky thing, but Mega Swampert there.
mm-hmm.
It's lacking some recovery, I think. Empoleon and Dragalge don't have any recovery. Him on top, no recovery. Dusknoir, not really. That's Pain Split, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it could have used like a Cleric, I think.
Yeah, no Wish Passer here, which,
No, Floette,
unless,
probably.
or
I
Floette
assume if
could.
that's the same move pool as Florges.
Yeah, if it is, but I don't know if that thing has a good base HP stat to wish from, but I'm kind of
Yeah,
unfamiliar
no,
with it.
no, I don't.
Yeah. Um, Speed, it's kind of
Yeah,
slow outside of rain.
for speed is gonna heavily rely on rain, I think. Like its
Yeah.
fastest thing would be Mega Swampert in the rain. Outside of rain, its fastest is Thunderous at 101, which isn't great.
Yeah. Um, I guess even in rain, there's only like one Swift Swimmer, so rain doesn't even help it out that much.
Well, Mega Swampert, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Mega Swampert though. But
yeah.
Yeah. Hazards, Empoleon with rocks and can defog. Hitmontop can spin, Murkrow can defog, Pelipper can defog, Thundurus can defog, Silvally can defog, Scizor can defog.
Yeah, it has great removers. Like one of the best, I think. There's so many options, and who do they gonna bring to remove?
Yeah.
It's setters. There's Swampert, and Empoleon can set up, and that rocks and like Rheology can set up Toxic Spikes. That's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't too much. Like I think he's more concerned with getting rid of Faz than setting them up. That's good.
Yeah. And then coverage wise, team's solid, missing out on a couple of types.
Technically, he has every type since he has Silvally, but yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, like, you're gonna have to rely on different Silvallis every week, which isn't a bad thing, but I guess Silvally becomes more predictable because it's gonna mostly be one of the types that you lack.
Yeah, and especially in a rain team, like like its general weakness. What is the biggest weakness to the rain team? Maybe it's a strong grass or something. Okay, I'm gonna bring Silvally Fire this time or something, or Silvally Flying. That's It is sort of predictable in this specific team simply because it relies on a strategy.
Yeah.
But I think Silvally is still a good pick for this team.
Yeah. And then, not really too many major weaknesses, I feel. Other than Freeze Dry, that's a big one here. But, yeah. Other than that, no real massive type weakness.
Yeah, I think so. You actually did that quite well. Like, normally if you build around a certain weather or something, like, you're going to share a lot of weaknesses. But I think,
Yeah.
But yeah, ice would be the biggest one, especially with Freeze Dry. But yeah.
Yeah, alright. Going to number 10, we have the New York Aqua Jets, coached by Carnage Man. Here's our other weather team. We got Sand here with Excadrill, Dracovish, Gigalith, Entei, Tangela, Manectric, Mega Pidgeot, Aromatisse, Stoutland, Latias, and Orbeetle.
Yeah, I gotta say, we got a bit of a tie here, so the bit of a spoiler, but 10, 9, and 8 will all have the same score, so you're just the middle pack. You're right there in the middle. But yeah, Carnage, great Sand team. Like, that's some of the best abusers. Excadrill and Dracovish are both solid, and there's Stoutland there too, so you're always gonna have to worry about Sand.
Yeah. Obviously, Dracovish and Excadrill both hit incredibly hard on the physical side, and like Choice Banded, Sandrush, Dracovish, or like Choice Scarf, Strongjaw, Dracovish both hit incredibly hard with Fish's Rend. You're just gonna need something to be able to soak up Fish's Rends. Otherwise, that Dracovish and Sand can do a lot. And then on the special side, Mega Pidgeot and Latias, I'd say do a solid amount.
Yeah, I'm worried about how good Mega Pidgeot this season is, because it lost coverage in Power. Like, oftentimes you want to bring like Power Ground or something that those steel types which Heat Wave doesn't hit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not like I get that they need a good special attacker to like balance out the physical sand, physical sand abusers. So I'm not sure how good Mega Pidgeot is going to be this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
At least it hits its Hurricanes 100% of the time, even in the sand, thanks to its ability. But, yeah. But I think where this team really shines is speed. It has obviously two great sand rushers in Excadrill and Dracovish, and Mega Pidgeot's fast, Latias then, and then Entei is a solid top end, and also has access to webs.
Wait, what?
Orbeetle.
Entei has access. Sorry.
Orbeetle has access.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. But Mega Pidgeot is the top end at 121. Entei is 100.
Yeah. So that's a.
Yeah.
And then
I like that the team is still pretty fast, even outside of the sand. Like, it still has fast moments that still hit, or you still good even when sand isn't up.
Yeah.
Like, there's 3 sand rushers. Like, you didn't mention Stoutland just now.
Yeah. Stoutland, it has its matchups, but when it has its matchups, it's really solid, but I feel like Excadrill and Dracovish are the two main threats.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Manectric
are.
is also kind of quick, but again, it's a Manectric. I don't know how often it can come.
Yeah, as far as budget electric goes, Manectric isn't the worst. He
Mm-hmm.
still has his fire coverage, so even if it has no hidden power, but yeah, Manectric is also one of those electric types that's just much worse without hidden power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hazards, Gigalith is the only rocker. It's a good
Excadrill.
rocker though. And yeah, Orbeetle has webs, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then...
Defoggers are like Latias, which is good, Mega Pidgeot, which can work. Like, I mean, it has the extra move slots now, so might
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm. Is that it
And
for...
Excadrill can spin. Yeah.
Excadrill can spin, yeah.
So Defoggers are the move is actually more or less solid. Could
Mm-hmm.
use a few more maybe, but it's fine. Just rockers are a bit lacking,
Mm-hmm.
or like setters. I mean.
Yeah. And then coverage-wise, I feel like this is one of our sort of weaker teams. It misses out on a couple of important types, I feel. For starters, just lacking a fire type, I think, could have helped out this team a little bit. Like,
Ante's right there.
oh, Ante, I'm stupid. But
Yeah, I mean, I get that when you build around a weather, you're missing some type. But
Yeah.
it doesn't have a dark type, which
dark,
I think I should also have dark type because of stored power shenanigans. But
yeah,
fine. But its biggest weakness is ground.
ground
Which is a
slayer,
fairly huge weakness.
yeah,
He has like 4 months weak to it. He has a Tangela at his best, like counter to it.
yeah, and then I guess Mega Pidgeot and Latias can switch in.
Yeah, but like Mega Pidgeot doesn't want to switch into like Stone Edge coverage, which most grounds have.
Yeah.
Latias is okay though, depending on the ground type, what it has.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Tangela in the sand is another tricky one. I mean, Tangela doesn't really rely on synthesis recovery, but sometimes you do want it, and synthesis in the sand, that just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
big team is solid outside of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this team did weather right, where it can abuse the weather, but it can also work without it. I think Excadrill and Dracovish are solid mons without sand. So having that sand option is nice. It's going to be something to prep for, but it can just run sandless some weeks.
Yeah, sand is just always such a solid strategy. If you have the pieces there, Gigalith, Excadrill, Dracovish, even Stoutland, that's good. You have that, but then the team also works without, like you said, Mega Pidgeot still fine, Laria still fine, Entei still fine. So
yeah,
I think it's a solid team actually.
Alrighty. So
yeah.
Up next, ranked 9, tied in the points, is Pako, Charleston Gastrodons, Zapdos, Suicune, Mesprit, Cofagrigus, Vileplume, Guzzlord, Clefable, Dugtrio, Mega Kangaskhan, Escavalier, and Colossal.
This is a really bulky team, right off the bat. This is one of the bulkiest team in the maybe D1. Like Suicune, Zapdos, Vileplume, Mega Kang, Colossal. All of his. This is so much bulk.
Clefable too, and
oh yeah,
Cofagrigus.
How did I not mention Clefable? Damn. Yeah.
Even Guzzlord with its massive HP stat can kind of try to be Blissey.
Yeah, this is a fat team.
And then,
offensively, the team is fine. Like Mega Kangaskhan's there, which is strong. Zapdos can hit hard. It doesn't have too many like really powerful offensive mon. Like
Dugtrio's a solid revenge killer.
Yeah. I mean, Suicune can set up and destroy stuff. Like Mega Kangas hits really hard, and Colossal still hits hard. Escavalier still hits hard, but they're just slow mons.
Yeah. But yeah, defensively, like you said earlier, I think this team really shines. Solid defensive wall is going to be tough to break for I think everyone in the division.
Yeah, and I like that he has Dugtrio there too. It's like the tricky mons that can get through his walls, like he just traps and kills.
Speed. Team's a little bit slow, but I guess Dugtrio's fine on top end.
Yeah, you don't expect stall teams or like fat teams like this to be too fast, so I get that.
And then Mega Kangaskhan.
But yeah, Dugtrio 120 is his fastest thing, and he has 2 base 100s in Zapdos and Kangaskhan. But then he has also a bunch of monsters at like 50 or below.
Yeah. I guess potentially he could pull some Trick Room stuff with Kofagrigus, but
I don't know what would sweep in a Trick Room though. Colossal,
Escavalier,
maybe. I guess. Don't
maybe.
feel like Escavalier has the coverage to really sweep, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an option, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure what really abuses that in this team.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm. And then Hazards.
Hazard-wise, yeah. Did he have much? Like, yeah,
Um,
there's some decent removal, I think, but
yeah.
what can set here?
Clefable
Let's
and
check.
Doug Trio are
Oh wait,
solid
there might be a
setters.
bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clefable, Doug Trio,
Colossal sets of
Colossal.
Rocks and Spice.
Hmm.
Clefable, Duck Trio, Mesprit.
Hmm.
Kofagrigus even sets of Toxic Spice. Never knew that.
Yeah. And then removal is solid from the Zapdos, is the main thing, but Colossal can spin as well.
Yeah, I mean Zapdos is
Hmm.
one of the best removers you can have, but it's
Hmm.
also the one you're gonna have to bring probably every time. Which for a team that sets up as many hazards as this,
Hmm.
uh, you know, you don't always want to click defog. So
Hmm.
curious.
Hmm. Yeah. And then coverage. Um, I guess coverage here is solid, definitely. Um,
That's the biggest weakness is ice. Looking at it,
yeah.
I
Ice.
mean there's
Hmm.
Suicune right there. Like that's one of the
Yeah.
best ice counters you could have.
Yeah. And
Cavalier, Colossal, both are fine.
mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, like even the Ice Weak Mons, it's Zapdos is the one that's going to be coming a lot, and Dugtrio, I
Hmm.
guess, but I think dies to anything anyways.
Yeah.
And then Vileplume and Guzzlord aren't exactly coming to a lot of games.
Yeah.
Hmm. So pretty well-rounded team, I think.
Yep. Fat team. Gonna have
Hmm.
long-term battles, but I will.
Yeah. I guess going on to our number 8 team, we have the Blazing Ponytas. Grabbing that Cinderace, Milotic, Gardevoir, Donphan, Bolton, Zangoose, Superior, Cobalion, Noivern, Swellow, and Mega Sableye. Um, yeah, this team is probably, just looking at it straight up, one of the most well-rounded teams we have. Offensively, Cinderace provides a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That's
By the
just
way, this is Liberate, so this is
yeah.
Libero Cinerate.
Hmm. Yeah, which just
So yeah,
provides a ton of
that's
pressure.
scary as hell.
Hmm. And then Gardevoir is solid offensively.
That's fine.
Yeah. Superior can do some contrary shenanigans. Uh, Cobalion is solid. Not great, but can do stuff. Noivern again, solid, not great, and then Swellow, I guess.
Yeah, I think the two biggest threats here offensively are definitely Cinderace and Serp,
Hmm.
which are the two ones that you have to be careful of.
Yeah.
Cinderace goes in and out, and Superior, if you get it in on the wrong match, on the wrong 1v1 too long,
Hmm.
it just sweeps your team.
Yeah. Removal of Hidden Power hurts Superior, but it has
Yeah,
Contrary Leaf
sure.
Storm, which is just an incredible combo.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, defensively, I think like you think it'd be really high because he has like Mega Sableye, Milotic, Donphan right there, but
mhm.
it's just a bunch of really frail mons looking at it.
Yeah. Mega Sableye and Milotic could prove tough to break for some teams just because they
Hmm.
can both spam recover. And I guess there's some other stuff that's like decently bulky with the Donphan, Superior's somewhat bulky, and Cobalion's also kind of bulky.
Superior bulky though.
Eh, it's what it's supposed to be, like bulky and fast, I guess, but it's not even that bulky.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's a good core there. Milotic, Donphan, and Stabilize is going to be the defensive core. That's like
Hmm.
at least two of those mons are probably going to come to most games.
Yeah.
Just which you have to rely on, which is fine. Like that's you have an offensive core and a defensive
Hmm.
core. Like good to be that separated, but the rest of the team just does not take hits well at all.
Yeah. Speed. This team is incredibly fast. Swallow,
Yeah.
Noivern, Cinderace, Boltund, Superior. Just a
Yeah,
ton of stuff above. Cobalion's above base 100.
I did have to give it like a few points off because of how close those tiers are together. It goes 119, 121, 123, 125, which are all roughly the same speed
Hmm.
tier. But yeah, overall this team is just really fast. It's so fast.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, they're gonna be outspeeding a lot. Definitely gonna be forcing some scarfs.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Hazards. Cinderace obviously can court change, and then Donphan is a solid rocker that can also spin. Superior can defog. Cobalion can set rocks. Noivern can defog. Swellow, I think, can defog and then save life for Magic Bounce. I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah, find the 2 rockers, 3 defoggers, and spinners, plus Cinderace, court change. So it definitely has a lot of control over the hazards. It can't set up that many, but I get that. When you have Cinderace, you don't want to set up. You just want to stop your opponent from doing it or just throw it back in his face.
Yeah.
So I get that.
And then obviously Sableye can Magic Bounce as well, but as we discussed earlier with some other Magic Bounce mons, if you can make those predictions, then it works out really well. If you can't, meh.
Yeah, I mean, Magic Bounce more or less is just another discouragement from opponents from setting up. Like, if you already have a Mega Sableye in the back, they don't want to click Stealth Rocks, you know? So I think that's the main pull about it. But yeah.
Yeah. And then coverage?
Coverage-wise, the team's missing some types, and that's like also a bit of a weakness to Ice here. 4 months weak to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what my loading is mainly there for. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 4 Ice Weak mons is kind of a lot, but Milotic, again, like you said, one of the best Ice switch-ins. And other than that, nothing really too bad.
Yeah, Cobalion, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. Alright,
I think this team is well balanced, good offense score, good defense score, very fast, just, missing some points. But right in the middle, decent team, Jelllcents.
Yeah. Number 7, we have Hell Creek Head Smash, coached by Rissoux. Mega Charizard, Nidoking, Rotom-Mow, Uxie, Alolan Persian, Illumise, Tapu Fini, Oricorio, Terrakion, Skarmory, and Audino. I think Rissoux did a great job of salvaging this draft in free agency, in the grace period. But when you have to drop your round 1 pick, it kind of hurts.
Yeah, there was a bit of an issue there where he wanted to change his round 1 pick, but then I said no because some other people already picked, and then But yeah, he did a good job. Like, he's moving up. 7 is pretty solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, offensively, just Megazord, Terrakion, and Nidoking, all really scary mons.
Yeah.
Just those 3 alone just forces a lot of prep.
Yeah.
Especially like Zordax and Terrakion.
Yeah, and like Rotom could potentially go offensive with Nasty Plot some weeks if it wanted to. But those 3 is kind of just going to be a centralized offensive force, I think.
Yeah, I think the only reason offense is not higher is just because of a lot of his other mons are very passive.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Which,
looking at the defensive core, Skarmory, Tapu Fini, it also has Rotom, Uxie, and stuff, but like Skarmory, Tapu Fini is a really solid core.
Yeah, they're both weak to electric, but Nidoking and Rotom.
Nidoking, Rotom-Mow, even Zordax, you have that covered.
Yeah. And then Skarmory is just, like you said, a great defensive piece. Fini, tough to break. And then Rotom, it has great Rotom bulk, like it always does, and even Audino.
Yeah, it's Audino too. I almost forgot about that. It's a great
bulk,
cleric.
Great cleric, yeah.
Good mode to your cleric. Wish, heal well. Heal well, right? Yeah.
Does what you get what you pay for with Audino, and that it's a great cleric. It's really passive, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Speed.
Speed is where the team likes it. There's Alolan Persian 115, Terrakion 18, and then Megazord at just base 100.
Yeah.
So it could have used a faster mon than Alolan Persian, or like a better fast mon than Alolan Persian, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Like the rest of his team is pretty average, at around 90s or 80s.
Yeah.
There's like 4 mons at like base 85.
Yeah.
So Fini, Illumise, Nidoking, Rotom-Mow is 86, but
Yeah.
So I had to give him a point off for that. But other than that, speed's fine. A bit below average. Could have been a bit better, but it's okay.
Hazards, I think this team does really well, but you kind of have to do really well when you have a Mega Charizard.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Like Skarmory is both one of the best hazard setters as well as one of the best hazard removers. So picking Skarmory alongside Charizard is, I think, a really good pick.
Yeah, and then
Then you have Rotom can also remove, Nidoking can also set up, and you have T-Spikes. So yeah, Tapu Fini also a great defogger. Again, there's two of the best defoggers in the game. Yes, right there.
Yeah, gonna be tough to keep hazards on his side, but keeping hazards on his side is also a priority for a lot of teams. So I think Riss did a great job of knowing kind of what that weakness of the Mega Charizard X is, and then kind of getting two great defoggers. And then Rotom also, I think, is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a lot of his games. Just going to revolve around, can we keep rocks up or not?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then
type coverage, it hits all the types except for Ice and Ghost, I think.
Yeah.
Outside of like the Oricorio.
Yeah. And then Ice is nice to have, but it doesn't really add a lot defensively, so going without an Ice type I think is fine.
Yeah, doesn't have any big weaknesses as far as I can tell, so good team.
Good team.
Well done, Daddy. You're moving up.
All done. With that, let's go to number 6. We got Ghost, Tornti, Sylveon, Bronzong, Darmanitan, Pangoro, Kangaskhan, Garchomp, Raikou, Mega Blastoise, Eldegoss, and Skuntank. Yeah, I think this team is really strong. Obviously, solid offense. Tornti, Darmanitan, Pangoro, Garchomp, Raikou, even Mega Blastoise if it wants to go offensive, it can do that really well.
Exactly, yeah. It's a good mix of physical and special too, like Darmanitan and Blastoise and Tornti right there. Plus Garchomp and Raikou, didn't even mention those. Like, there's a bunch of just mons that are that you always have to prep for.
Yeah. And equal defensive score as well too. Tornti if it wants to go defensive, Sylveon, Bronzong, Garchomp if it wants to go defensive, Eldegoss is a solid special wall.
Yeah, also a great Dragon Fairy Steel Core right there. Yeah. Garchomp, Sylveon, Bronzong, that's really solid.
Yeah. I guess. And it's also a quick team too. Tornti at the top is it's pretty solid at 121, and then Raikou at 115. I think Garchomp is the next at 102.
Yeah.
Does a solid job bridging down.
Exactly. Like Torn at the top, like it could have been maybe one faster one, but you can do much worse than having Tornti at the top, and then it's really well spread out, and then it keeps going spread out like that. It goes like 90, 80, 70, 60. I think he did a great job of curving out his speed here as well.
Yeah, the team definitely shines here. You gotta really bring the right mons at the right speeds, otherwise, like, he can outspeed you, and then the mons that aren't outspeeding are still solid. They don't really care if they're not outspeeding, and you kind of have to manage your own speed pretty well. Against this team, like, you're gonna have to oftentimes invest a lot of EVs if you want to be outspeeding, no matter where you are.
Yeah, you have to like, really make sure, like, okay, this one I want to outspeed this mon, but it can't outspeed this mon, so you need to have exactly this much EVs, and that just all of that EVs just goes out of their either offense or bulk. So, however much speed of EVs you're forcing them to invest in speed, that's just all profit for you.
Yeah. I guess hazards are this team's one weak spot. I think it's mostly from the setters, although Bronzong, Garchomp are solid setters.
Yeah.
I think that's just about it. Does Kangaskhan get rocks? I don't...
No.
No, okay,
I
yeah.
can tell now.
But...
Yeah, so I think that's it. I mean, he has 2 solid rockers, but those are the only hazards he has, and those are the only setters he has, so... it could have used more, I guess, if you wanted more hazards.
But I guess the defog here is solid, or the removal in general. Tornti, Blastoise is a good spinner. Eldegoss, Skuntank, all solid.
Like a good fair amount of options that you can, switch out which one you want to click defog with on this particular week. So good mix, I say.
And then coverage is solid. weaknesses to this team, I guess.
No, like
Not really.
it's missing four types, which is where the
Yeah.
4 points come off, but it has like no big weaknesses, so
Yeah.
good spread.
Yeah, I really like this team.
Me too.
Alrighty, moving on. Number 5, top 5. I think all of these teams are incredibly strong. Starting off
Yeah.
with the London Lucarios, Ryan Scar. Lando I with Sheer Force, Rotom Wash, Incineroar, Metagross, Licky Licky, Clefairy, Kyurem, Mega Beedrill, Alakazam, Dusclops, and Leafeon. This team is definitely built on offense. Has Lando I with Sheer Force hits incredibly hard. Mega Beedrill, Alakazam, Kyurem, all solid offensively. And Incineroar and Metagross are a little slower, but still really strong.
Yeah, one thing we don't often talk about that much is just momentum, and this team has some of the best momentum out of any team here.
Yeah.
Just having Mega Beedrill as a U-turn, also constantly switching out, but then also having Rotom Wash and Incineroar with even potentially Parting Shot there. Just great tools to get either your Lando or your Kyurem in on the right matchups and just start destroying stuff, which I think this team does really well.
Yeah. And then defensively, I don't think it gets much worse. Rotom, Metagross can work defensively, physically. Licky Licky has a pretty solid HP stat and can also Wish. Clefairy with the Eviolite is Dusclops with the Eviolite, though, that thing is really strong. And then kind of other things have deceptive amounts of bulk.
Yeah, I do have to give him like a minor point now for having 2 Eviolite mons. Like, you just know people are going to break knockoff all the time and everything. That can't have it, but yeah. Other than that, the team has solid bulk, I'd say. Not the best of Clairs, like Clefairy is there, but Clefairy is a low HP stat, so you can't really Wish pass all that well. But Licky Licky can also Wish pass, so.
Yeah. Definitely. Defense is solid. Could use maybe like one or two more defensive pieces, but when the team is this offensive,
you just use some mons that are just more like a real wall, that have recovery themselves. I think they didn't take hits, but I think that's not really what this team is about. It just wants to constantly be moving and just be doing damage.
Yeah. And I think its speed allows it to do that. Mega Beedrill, obviously at the top, is great. And going down, Alakazam is strong and fast, and then Lando I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah, no, that's 145 to 120 to 101.
Yeah.
Pretty good. You could maybe use something between Lando and Alakazam. Something around 110 or so maybe, but other than that, really solid. Yeah, good speed.
Yeah, and then even does a solid job bridging all the way down to the Dusclops, which is one of like the slower mons, but even like can potentially do some form of Trick Room with like Dusclops, setting it for like just some Trick Room cheese with like a slow Incineroar.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
It has a few mods that can set up speed, like Kyurem can set up Dragon Dances, Lando can set up Rock Ballers, so it has some ways to manipulate speed still, but yeah.
And then hazards, I guess, are this team's kind of weak point.
Yeah, it has some good setters here. Lando, Metagross, Clefairy, even Mega Beedrill can if you want to, just bring Toxic Spikes.
Yeah, and then
but then it's missing some removers. I think.
Like
Lando,
Rotom.
you don't want to bring defog on Lando most of the time, but Rotom is the best defogger here.
Yeah, and then Mega Beedrill again, you don't want to bring defog on it.
Yeah.
So it's really just gonna be Rotom having to defog a lot of weeks.
Yeah, so you have to be careful, like to keep your Rotom at a healthy enough HP that you can still consistently click defog. Otherwise, hazards are going to overthrow this team, especially with a Mega Beedrill.
Yeah,
Mega Beedrill hates rocks.
Kyurem and Incineroar are all kind of rocks weak. But obviously, Incineroar is a solid boots user, and then Kyurem can roost itself back up. So I mean, like rocks could be worse for this team, but they also could be better. But
technically, Beedrill can also roost up, but yeah, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. And then coverage, I think is solid here. No real massive weaknesses.
Yeah, no, just missing 2 types. I think just the rock weakness is the biggest
Mm-hmm.
because it only has one mon that resists it in Metagross.
Yeah, and then are they missing 1 or 2 types here?
Yeah, they're missing. I think they're missing rock and they're missing fighting, which
Yeah.
they could have used for the rock weakness, but
Mm-hmm. And then maybe a better fairy than Clefairy, but I think it's solid all around.
yeah, I agree. Like
Definitely.
the team's biggest weakness is like good edge quake coverage.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to be careful about that. But other than that, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Up next at number 4, finds himself here in the same spot as last year. We have Bowser. Mega Scizor, Slowbro, Lycanroc Dusk, Zergatree, Cryogonal, Turtonator, Urshifu Single Strike, Lando T, Golurk, Whimsicott, and Quillfish.
Oh yeah. By the way, shout out to Bowser. He also helped us with these
Yeah.
PRs and he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot to mention that, but yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
Bowser. He's
Shout out
actually listening to us
Mhm.
right now. Pretty sure.
Yeah. And his team, I think, is incredible. Mega Scizor, with no hidden power, is really strong. And then immediately after that is Slowbro, which can take those fire hits for it really well. And then sort of going down the list, Lycanroc runs offense really well. Zergatree, while limited without hidden power, can still hit incredibly hard.
Yeah, he just has a few like
Yeah.
really good powerful mons. Scizor, Lycanroc, Urshifu,
Urshifu,
Lando,
Lando.
yeah, and even Zergtree. Like,
yeah,
I think his team is even Golurk, but
yeah,
Golurk gets poltergeist now. I think
Mhm.
Golurk is actually a real threat. But
yeah. It's a
yeah, the
top-heavy
team is
team, but
yeah,
I
the
think
team is
he
also
made it.
very physically offensive. I
Mhm.
should mention that. Like
Yeah.
almost all of his mons, other than the Zergtree, are physical threats.
Yeah, and then Slowbro is more of a defensive piece, but that thing can be special. And then like Cryogonal, I don't know how often that comes. That thing can run special, I guess. And then Turtonator,
I mean, Cryogonal has no coverage,
Mhm.
so
yeah. But definitely, I think what's holding back his offensive score is just the fact that it's all physical, pretty
Mhm.
much.
yeah, I had to give him like 1 or 2 points off for that,
Mhm.
just because that's
Mhm.
it's the disparity is going to bring like a lot of physical defensive teams are going to come against it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, defense is actually pretty solid. Like especially Mega Scissor and Slowbro as a core is easily one of the best like duos you can have
Mhm.
in terms of defense.
Yeah. Um, yeah, those two do well, and then Lando
Especially
T.
with Lando
Mhm.
T there too to like take electric
Mhm.
hits.
Yeah, and then everything else can be in
It's
like
a bit more mediocre.
yeah,
Like yes, Whimsicott
Mhm.
and Cryok, which are sort of bulky, but they're
yeah,
still just a Whimsicott
Mhm.
and a Cryok.
and
And
then
Quillfish has Intimidate there.
yeah, sort
I think he
of
has like a
a little
like he has a
intimidate
bit of an
core.
Intimidate score there with the
Yeah,
Lando T and the Quillfish, but yeah.
yeah. But defensively, solid team. I feel like definitely plays well around that Mega Scizor.
hmm Yeah.
Speed, Whimsicott's here, and that's pretty quick. And then Lycanroc Dusk, if I'm not mistaken, is the next fastest, and then Cryogonal.
Yeah, it's always tricky when your fastest mon is a low tier like Whimsicott, but
Hmm.
not sure what you want to do with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, Lycanroc is good, and then it says Cryok at 105 is
Hmm.
okay, and there's a few 90s mons, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's not the fastest team in the world, definitely
Yeah.
not.
And then also can use priority pretty well with the Mega Scizor and
Yeah,
Prankster
and
Whimsicott.
Lycanroc, I think,
Hmm.
yeah, priority is definitely he's gonna rely on it a lot. I feel like
Hmm.
he does have a Trick Room seller in Slowbro though, and like maybe he can do some fun stuff with Golurk
Yeah.
in the Trick Room. That could be fun.
Golurk in the Trick Room could be really strong, yeah. Room Service Zergatree
Yeah,
could
I
be
mean, why
funny
not?
one week.
I think circuitry is just if you put like a negative speed nature on it, it's still slow enough that it can abuse Trick Room.
Yeah. But I think this team's best point is its hazards.
Yeah.
I think he hits every hazard, minus webs,
Nope.
right?
Other than webs, yeah.
Yeah. Quillfish, obviously giving spikes and T-spike support. And then some solid rockers with Lando T, Golurk, And then Lycanroc
Rock,
Dusk isn't quite the most reliable, but it can do it. And then removal, Mega Scizor does it well.
So good.
Crogonal, Turtonator, Landorus, Whimsicott.
Even Whimsicott, yeah, that's just it's so good at removing hazards.
Yeah.
At the fact, I mean, Quillfish isn't the best setter, like not the most reliable. So it does give you options to get those other hazards, but generally, I think this team is just really good at like making sure its rocks stay up while your opponent's hazards stay off, just because of all the options you have.
And no webs, but the team doesn't really need it.
Not per se, no.
Yeah. And then coverage is another great selling point for this team. I believe they're missing one type, but
they're missing normal. So yeah, like in terms of stab coverage, that's the one you need the least, obviously.
Yeah.
But it has a bit of a ground weakness, I will say.
Yeah. I feel like the ground weakness can somewhat be played around, but if that's like kind of your main flaw is being slightly ground weak when you have a Landorus, I think you're fine.
Yeah, the Landorus T is easily like one of the best ground checks you can have, and then you have Slowbro there too, which doesn't resist it, but it still takes most ground types 1-on-1 easily. So
yeah. Moving on to our top 3. Number 3, we got Jared's Cleveland Cascoons. Latios, Rotom Heat, Miltank, Slurpuff, Excelgor, Lapras, Aegislash, Venusaur, Crocodile, Sawk, and Articuno.
This is another one of those really well-balanced team, I think.
Yeah.
Like good offense, good defense, decent speed. Everything is definitely like above average.
Yeah. Everything is 15 or higher, which I think is really strong. Offensively, Latios packs punch, and then Aegislash is a solid pairing with that.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Threats. Venusaur is still powerful. Like you can set up with that maybe, or otherwise, it just hits hard even if you have a defensive set. You can maybe do belly drum shenanigans with Slurpuff, although I'm not sure how good that is.
Yeah, and Rotom can even hit hard.
Yeah, then you have Excelgor even do like it loses hidden power, but still like Throat Spray on Burden is still a good set.
Yeah, and it can always just Final Gambit if you want to play a 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Defense, again, really solid. Rotom, Miltank, Aegislash when it's in its defensive form. Mega Venusaur obviously is a great defensive piece. That's kind of their defensive core here.
Yeah, and even Articuno, like low tier Articuno is pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like Mega Venusaur plus Aegislash is a great defensive combo. As Aegislash can resist what Venusaur is weak to.
Yeah, and like Venusaur takes ground types really well, so like even if. And then you have Rotom Heat and like thick fat Miltank there for the fire types. So
yeah, dual thick fat users with Miltank and Mega Venusaur. So the fire type isn't an issue, and ice really isn't either.
Yep.
And then speed again. I feel like we're just gonna keep talking good stuff about this team. Excelgor at the top is like one of the fastest things that was drafted, and then going down from Excelgor.
Yeah, that's a big gap there. Go from 145 to 110 for Latios. It could have used another fast mod.
But Slurpuff
most of its mons are like pretty average in speed. There's a bunch of like base 80 mons, base 80 and higher.
Yeah. And also 2 unburdened users in Slurpuff and Excelgor. While they're not the most consistent, still a threat.
Yeah.
Just pretty fast team, and the slower stuff can boost its speed. Like Aegislash too can like get its speed boosted. Like
that's good rock polish, right? Yeah.
Just does a lot of different stuff. And then hazards, once again, solid. Excelgor providing spikes and toxic spike support. And then can get rocks up in a couple of ways. Crocodile, Miltank.
Really it has every hazard, by the way. It has 2 rockers, Excelgor having spikes and dark spikes, and Slurpuff having sticky webs.
Yeah. And then
just really slow. And then there's 3 defoggers in Articuno, Latios, and Rotom.
Yeah, a spinner would have been nice here, but that's kind of the main nitpick. And
That's just minor. Like, its defoggers are all solid, like, especially Latios and Rotom are just really good defoggers.
Yeah. And then coverage, I think is like once again great here.
It's missing rock, which is also its biggest weakness, by the way. That's 4 months weak to rock.
Yeah.
But then you have Crook there, you have Sock there, I guess. I mean, even Venusaur beats most rock types.
Yeah.
So
definitely workarounds for that.
Slash, obviously H-Slash, I would mention that.
Yeah, so workarounds for that rock type weakness. And Rotom just can run boots to kind of get around the hazard. Same with Articuno. And then I don't know how often Lapras comes, and Excelgor kind of just dies at the start.
I'm not sure what Lapras does in this team, to be honest. But when you already have Articuno, I just don't know what Lapras does in general.
Yeah.
But it's there. You can have it. You can bring it if you want.
Yeah. And then moving to number 2.
Number 2.
We have the Toronto Terrakions, coached by Gorilla Fire, Flaming Monkey, whatever he wants to call himself. Dragapult, Florges, Chestnut, Zoroark, Mega Camerupt, Wishy-Washy, Alolan Muck, Azelf, Aerodactyl, Rotom Frost, and Melmetal.
The offense on this team is insane.
Yeah.
Just by the way, 20 is the highest score I can give according to our score system, because the Docs gave it a 24. So there's so many crazy stuff. Melmetal, Dragapult, Mega Camerupt hits ridiculously hard. Azelf has ridiculous offensive attack and special attack. Aerodactyl is there. Rotom Wash is there. Zoroark is there. Literally every single one of them has over 100 in either attack or special attack, or often both.
Yeah, it's just
that's how crazy this team is.
Yeah, offense is incredibly well rounded. And like, you're gonna be struggling to find switch-ins to this team. Like, it's hyper offense, but it's also bulky. Defensive rate 16. Florges is bulky. Chestnut, Rotom.
Yeah, it's a bulky offense team with Melmetal is bulky, but it's hard. Camerupt is bulky, but it's hard. Like, Chestnut and Florges are the only real, let's say, walls, I would say. But then Muck, Alolan Muck is bulky, hits hard. Wishy-Washy is actually fairly bulky.
Yeah. Bulky until it obviously takes too much damage.
Until it isn't. Yeah, until it isn't.
Yeah, but Florges can even provide that thing wish support in some situations.
I think Florges is such a good pick here. When you have monsters like Melmetal and Mega Camerupt, just passing that wish around is really good in this team.
Yeah.
Even lead seat support with Chestnut.
Yeah. And then speed, this team is also solid. Dragapult, Aerodactyl, Azelf is a solid top end.
Yeah, crazy enough, for such a bulky offense team, he still managed to bring a lot of speed. Like, Dragapult at 142, Aerodactyl at 130, Azelf at 115, Zoroark at 105, right?
Yeah.
It has some bulk, some offense, but then it also has some, like, 4 of the fastest mon that are perfectly, like, go in tiers.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And I feel like one thing that his team might have wanted is a little bit of Trick Room support when Melmetal and Wishy-Washy both, and Mega Camerupt all succeed in Trick Room. It's screaming like maybe a Trick Room mode could be helpful here. But
does it get Trick Room?
Does it? It might, but...
It does, yeah, it does. Yeah. You can do like a terrain of like a room service and then do explosion or something and then get into your... That's a fun set.
Yeah. Or just U-turn out if you happen to live a hit with the Zelf.
I mean, you're going to have to live 2 hits because you're probably going to be faster than whatever monster you set the Trick Room up. But,
I assume you'd be sashed on that set, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's there as an option.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to.
And then, I guess, the weak point, if you could call it one of this team, is its hazards.
I wouldn't call it a weak point. There's 3 rockers and a spiker. And then there's 3 defoggers, which are... I mean, Florges is really good. Rotom Frost is fine. Aerodactyl is fine as a defogger.
Yeah.
So, I guess it could have used better removers,
Yeah, and
but it's still like
mhm.
average, honestly.
Yeah, doesn't really need webs or T-spikes that much, so they would have
Yeah,
been
no,
nice
because
to
like
have.
it's slow modes and like
Mhm.
camera, the Melmetal, they're still not gonna outspeed anything, even if webs were up. So like, what do webs do in this team?
Yeah, and then its fast mons are gonna be outspeeding with like Dragapult being
Anyways, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and then coverage on this team also really strong. Um,
Yeah, it's missing, I think, bug and normal,
yeah,
and then its only big weakness is that doesn't really have all that.
yeah,
I guess fairy. There's
yeah,
like 3 months weakness fairies, only 2 months that resisted, but yeah.
yeah. Just an incredibly well-rounded team. Um, able to have Melmetal Dragapult on the same team. What could go wrong?
Yeah, it almost went number one, but it just barely missed out on a point compared to our number one, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, and at number one, you probably figured this out by process of elimination. We have the Greater
If you're
Western
paying attention.
City Gyarados. Megalop, Primarina, Registeel, Drapion, Frostlass, Luxray, Mew, Salamence, Shaman, Talonflame, and Marowak. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the last
Mm-hmm.
one, which had just a crazy offense and missing some errors, maybe this team just scores well on every aspect.
Yeah. Um, Offensively though, Megalop just does a lot. Even without return,
Hmm.
it's still really strong.
Yeah, I mean, it gets close combat now, so who cares,
Yeah.
honestly?
Mm-hmm. Mew, if it wants to run offensive, I guess I skipped over Primarina, which can be a massive, specially
Yeah.
offensive threat.
Yeah, because
Um,
Lob, Primarina,
mm-hmm,
Mew, Salamence, Talonflame can set up and sweep.
mm-hmm,
Like, Marowak is still crazy strong, actually, even if
yeah,
it's a tier 5.
and then Shaman.
Luxray is
Mm-hmm,
even, like, Guts Luxray is still really strong, too.
yeah, and then
Drapion can set up,
mm-hmm,
too, and, like, almost
Regis.
all of his mons
Mm-hmm,
do have some kind of offensive
yeah,
set. Even
like
Shaman with the Siege Flare,
mm-hmm,
yeah.
and then Registeel can like run Iron Defense Body Press, put in work.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Like every single one of these mons, A has a purpose and B can just do varied things.
Mm.
Yeah.
It has so much versatility and, like, how it wants to
Mm-hmm.
use its offense.
Yeah, and
Good makes
putting
it physical and
mhm,
special, too.
putting Mew on a versatile team is just asking for trouble. Defensively, team solid. Primarina is solid as a special wall. Registeel can go either way. Shaman
Yeah,
is solid.
Reggie's still good there with
Hmm.
double defenses. And Mew, like Reggie's still
Yeah.
and Mew being like two of its bulky core, I think
Hmm.
is the best here.
Yeah, and
And it
then
also has Shaman and Talonflame to back that up.
yeah, like bulk is solid. A lot of things can run bulky and sort of get away with it on this team.
Even like Salamence is a bit of a surprise wall. When like
Yeah.
Intimidate and Roost, like it actually takes hits quite well, and then it can still defog. And even as
Hmm.
Wish, like Salamence as a cleric isn't as crazy as you think it is.
Yeah. Um, Hazards. Once again on this team, I think they are really strong. Registeel is a consistent rocker. Drapion can set T spikes. Mew can do it all.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can actually do it all now, which is crazy.
yeah.
And then
Mance
webs,
can
yeah.
defog, right? And then Talonflame can defog. Marowak.
Yeah, Mew, Mence, and Talonflame are defoggers, yeah.
Yeah, and solid rockers. Registeel, Marowak, Mew.
Yeah, it has three different rock options, two different toxic spikes options, and two different spike options. By the way,
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
pretty insane. Like the only hazard is missing is webs.
Yeah. And on this team, I don't really even think you need webs. I think they'd be nice,
Yeah.
but
We didn't talk speed, by the way.
yeah,
It's right there, like Megalop
yeah,
135, Talonflame 126, Frostlass 110,
hmm
and then there's like three different 100 mons,
yeah,
which normally I give a point off, which I still did, I think, but just
hmm
that speed, that curve that nicely into each other. I think
yeah,
this might be the best speed tiers in the league, despite having three base 100 mons.
yeah. And then there's like kind of a gap, but like an uninvested base 100 kind of fills it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like you can go like Shaman, no investment, that hits like close to 80 or 70 or so.
Yeah. And that just helps out this team's speed tiers. Once again, I feel like we said it earlier on one of the speed tier team. I think Ghost's team. With this team, you're gonna want to run. You're gonna have to run a lot of speed EVs, which is gonna take away from your bulk or from your firepower.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, their coverage I think is still stellar.
Yeah, it's missing rock and buck. That's it.
Yeah.
And it has like no big weaknesses
No
as far as
big
I can tell.
weakness. Yeah, but obviously, I think no one saw the Megalop Mew team being anywhere other than number one.
I mean, we usually don't judge based on like what's the best mon on the team. Otherwise, the Coco team wouldn't be last. But
Yeah,
the fact that he supports it this well just shows how good this team is.
yeah. And then I can just see this team going all the way.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be the season for Mr. Jacken.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and I think that does it.
Yeah, that does it. I think first we should just stress after this, all of the teams I think were pretty solid. No one really is at too much of a disadvantage just based on their draft.
Yeah, we should always say that. Like, this is just based on like these points. Even we try to make it as objective as possible, but even this is subjective as hell. Like, you can prep well, you can play well, you can still make it to the top, even if you're like, ranked in the bottom somewhere. So just do your best. I hope this is just for fun. This is just for your own informative. Maybe see if you want to change some things around. But
yeah,
I think just do your best. You're all gonna be fine.
Yeah. And then another thing, power rankings don't reflect coach skill.
Yeah, we did not take that into account whatsoever.
Yeah, so like, don't feel offended if your team did poorly on the thing. That was just like, as Joel said, kind of just trying to be objective about that. Someone had to be last. But yeah, these are your WPF Season 6 C Division PRs. Until next time, Jesse504 out.
I hope you enjoyed it. Jolts signing out.
See you. Bye.